Hey guys, today's story is about a sorcerer whose spirit animal is Megumin. I'd like to preface this with the fact that I actually really enjoyed the game that we were in, and I actually agree with the DM. My issue is that I predicted what happened, and I even warned the DM, and they ignored the warning, until what I predicted came true several times. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. This whole debacle started with a decision. The DM wanted each of the players to have a special ability, which there was 7 or 8 of us altogether. And basically, we all got a long rest ability that we could use a number of times equal to a quarter of our character's level with a minimum of 1. We all got to pretty much make up whatever we wanted. One of our clerics got a full res. Our barbarian could force crits, and our wizard got a boosted arcane recovery, if I can remember correctly. I can't really remember anyone else's abilities, but you get the kind of idea. Now, for my ability, I was playing a wild magic sorcerer with quicken spell and twin spell. I was playing a nuker sorcerer, basically, and so I wanted to have an ability that played into that. So I suggested that I could fuse a cantrip with another cantrip, or first level spell. What I was thinking was pretty much just using cantrips to supercharge some of my first level spells to make them a little more viable later in the game. Like being able to make Chromatic Orb a D10 spell instead of a D8 by fusing it with Firebolt, or making Magic Missile a 1d12 plus 1 times 3, if the target, or targets, were already hurt by fusing Magic Missile with Toll of the Dead, as I multiclassed into Warlock. I thought it was strong, but not crazy overpowered. The DM said, "It's too complicated. You can just mix any 2 spells however you want." Oh, are you sure? If you want to give me that power, I'll use it, but that's going to be crazy overpowered. No, it'll be fine. This just means it can throw stronger stuff at you. For a time after, it didn't seem that it was too powerful. After all, first and second level spells aren't supposed to be crazy strong. An auto-hit Scorching Ray here, Magic Missile and Scorching Ray, or a Chromatic Hands there, which is Chromatic Orb and Burning Hands. Nothing too crazy. The issue came when I hit level 5 in Sorcerer. My character, at that point, was level 8, with the other 3 levels being in Warlock. So now I had access to 3rd level spells, like Fireball, and Lightning Bolt, for my Eldritch invocations. I took Agonizing Blast and Eldritch Spear, and can you guess what I did? Well, I'll tell you. I mixed Eldritch Blast with Fireball and Lightning Bolt. 2 20-foot radius spheres 100 feet long, 5-foot wide lines that do 8d10 plus Charisma mod force damage, because as a level 8 character, Eldritch Blast gets 2 beams. On top of metamagics, at level 8, twice per long rest, I could do an average of something like 120 damage in a single turn. Truly, I had become a nuclear warhead. For context, at level 8, I was doing enough damage that if I got particularly lucky with enemies failing saves, there was a decent chance for my character to one-hit KO monsters that were my level, or CR8. To say it was OP was a gross understatement, but I'm not a jerk, and I know when nuking an entire encounter might be satisfying to me, that doesn't mean it's satisfying or fun for everyone else. So I would generally hold off on using my big ordnance, or simply use it as an over-the-top finishing move near the end of the fight. So perhaps the DM just didn't really make the connection of just how crazy overpowered my ability was. That is, until the tournament arc. We had been captured and had to do battle for our freedom, gladiator style. We were paired up in teams of 2 to fight against horrible monsters. I was paired with the barbarian, and we got to talking about strategies, and we both agreed, in and out of character, that getting the fight over with as soon as possible was the best strategy. So, eventually, our fight came around, and the DM dropped 2 homebrew monsters into the arena, making the mistake of having them enter next to each other. We rolled initiative, and I happened to go first. I cast Eldritch Nuke. I dropped 2 of these Eldritch Blast fireball abominations onto these poor creatures, killing them immediately, and ending the encounter. To the DM's credit, they didn't say anything until after the session, posting in general, "Lily, your ability is overpowered, and you need to change it. It's not fair to the others," and generally acting as if this was a surprise, as if I had hoodwinked them, or somehow pulled the wool over their eyes. I said, "You're the one that told me that I could do it this way. And I told you that it was crazy overpowered, but you said it would be fine, that you would just throw stronger monsters at us." And I'll admit, I was defensive, since the DM was acting like I had tricked them into letting me have this ability somehow. "Well, I didn't think that it would be that strong. I didn't think about it." "I told you it would be." "Well, you still need to change it." "How about I just go with what I originally suggested?" "Whatever, just change it." So I did. Though I ended up changing it completely to a blood magic thing that let me burn HP for different effects like rerolling damage die, or getting attack roll bonuses. And lastly, I'd like to reiterate that I actually do agree with the DM. The ability was stupid overpowered, and needed to be changed. I just didn't appreciate them acting like I had somehow bamboozled them into giving me an overpowered ability when it was their idea. And I expressly told them that it would be ridiculously overpowered. But that's the story of how my Sorcerer, for a brief period of time, was a tactical nuke of a caster. And that particular DM was kind of a crap show for a bunch of different reasons as well, but those are stories for another time. Well guys, overall this really isn't that bad. This is pretty much all on the DM here, although it is mildly amusing to think of just how egregious this really could be even at lower levels, let alone getting a character to above level 10 or 15 and just seeing what kind of disgusting displays of power that this would have. I don't know if the OP will ever tell those other stories, but I'm kinda curious if they're a little bit like this in terms of the DM not thinking. But that's the end of this one. I hope you enjoyed the story, and, as always, have a good one.